Hey, good evening, Guam. I'm Jess, Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. And by popular demand, we have Mr. Ed Benavente again. We're going to be continuing our conversation on political self-determination, most especially Guam self-determination. But Ed, tonight we're going to concentrate on a different status that I kind of read about the other day, and I was kind of taken aback because here I am barely knowing maybe, you know, the makeup of the three statuses that we're supposed to vote for, and then another one was presented, and I'm going, oh, wait a minute, I'm too old to learn another one. Anyway, welcome back. Like, a lot of people, bula tato managang para kumbida talo tatigilo. Can you please tell us this thing? Because I'm, you know, please correct me if is it just me that I'm confused about this, or what? Because you've been to the United Nations.
No, just about everybody's perplexed with regards to the proposal that was submitted by or presented by Dr. Ron McNich. See, there are meetings that are held by the United Nations, either in the Caribbean or the Pacific.
And this one was held in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And usually there are two tickets that are sent out by the United Nations. Okay. One for a territorial, the government's representative,
which is Ed Alvarez.
And one to the NGOs or a political expert. Okay. It was late when I heard about the news and what had happened. So when the other NGOs informed me, I developed a letter and sent it off to the chairman. But I guess it was late. It was already the first day of their meetings over the Caribbean. So we were shocked. We were shocked. So within the context of my letter, I totally dismiss any assertions made by Dr. Ron McNich in his presentation at the Caribbean. We were just totally shocked.
Well, what I'm confused about this, Ed, because when you have gone and the people of Guam have gone, you don't necessarily represent a status. You represent the people of Guam wanting to have their say in their political self-determination, not necessarily a particular status, right?
Okay. We're not there to discuss status.
But what I'm confused about is because there, as you said, there are two delegates. One as a government official, one maybe a political expert.
Or an NGO.
But still a representative or a delegate from Guam. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
Now, Dr. Ron McNich goes on to say that he's not a representative of the government of Guam, nor does he represent any indigenous or any political status, colonized people. But when you're recognized, you are recognized as a delegate from Guam, and therefore, as a delegate from Guam, you should have the sentiments of the people of Guam in their quest for self-determination.
And that's our legitimate grievance. It is basically, who does he represent? Did he leave Guam to represent somebody? Is it the administering power? Because there is a chair for the administering power, which is the United States. But we were curious as to who he's representing. But obviously, he prefaced his presentation by saying he does not represent the territorial government, nor any NGOs or political expert in Guam. He was invited by the United Nations.
Because what I'm kind of confused about here is, of course, the Guam representative, Mr. Ed Alvarez, who the Commission on Decolonization. He opened up basically and says, we now have a governor that's very, he definitely wants to see a political self-determination by the people of Guam. And he's very aggressive, whether it's 2012 or 2014, whatever that date may be. He's very, he wants to have this done. But when that is said, you have another Guam delegate that is throwing out another particular status, when knowing over the years, as yourself and other folks who have gone to the United Nations to present the statuses or the quest for self-determination, and then the people of Guam through its representative had decided the three different statuses that you should vote upon. Here it is throwing something else into the mix, something that the United Nations itself doesn't even recognize.
Yeah, it's a curveball that was thrown by somebody who, says that he does not represent Guam, but talks on behalf
of the people of Guam.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at his suggestion or his proposals. If you recall, there was one dealing with the Constitution. Here we go again, the cart before the horse. He was suggesting to the Committee of 24 that maybe the off-the-shelf Constitution should be construed as an exercise or a political status option. And I was saying that's absurd. Absurd, because, you know, tell me, Senator, in the entire world, all these nations, which one there contrived their constitution before
a status
exercise? I mean, even the United States declared independence in 1776, and subsequent to that, in the late 1780s,
that's right.
The Constitution was ratified. So there we go. You know, it's just totally awkward.
And you know, my understanding, I'm sure your understanding as well, of a Constitution is the citizens of that state or territory or that country draft their own Constitution, and the citizens of that country or state can amend their Constitution. In this case, if you have a Constitution before a status, somebody else is basically given the okay and can amend or whatever your Constitution besides yourselves.
Absolutely. What really extended absurdity here was basically when he suggested the sui generis.
Generis, yes.
Generis. That's really a generic term for the Nomea Accord.
Yeah.
And the Nomea Accord with New Caledonia's case was a result of a civil unrest that had occurred back in the 80s between the Kanakis, who are the indigenous people of New Caledonia, and the French white settlers. So a war ensued, a civil war ensued between them, and as a result, France intervened.
You know,
and created this Nomea
Accord. As a matter of fact, let me read just a little bit on what sui generis basically calls for. It has been established by the government, is increasingly empowered via the gradual implementation of a devolution of powers. Okay, and basically France, in favor of New Caledonia, pursuant to the, as you said, 1998 Nomea Accord, areas such as taxation, labor law, health and hygiene, foreign trade, and others are already in the hands of the government. But ultimately, again, what will happen under this sui generis, again, ultimately the French Republic should only remain in charge of foreign affairs, justice, defense, public order, and the treasury. I mean, isn't that the bulk and the main decision areas of any country or any sovereign country?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's where, you know, there are countries or administering powers of the remaining 16 non-self-governing territories that have certain political arrangement with their territories. We haven't come to that part, and this guy's suggesting that we take a concept from somebody else's administering power and apply it to us.
I'm just afraid, Ed. I mean, I hope I'm totally wrong with this. I hope I'm totally wrong in the fact that the government wants us to move forward in this, and the United Nations seeing like, what the heck are you guys talking about? I mean, does this erase all the years of our invite and the quest again to decide our political status? And here now, Guam, you don't know what the heck you want.
It just confuses the issue. Remember that if you notice how he proposed this whole concept, he was vacillating between an internal approach or an external approach. He said, let's look at the insular cases. That's an internal approach.
That's right.
But then he wants to broaden the options by suggesting sui generis option. I was saying, wait a minute, that's an external approach. Make up your mind. Are we going to the internal approach, which is a federal territorial relationship enhancement, or do we go the exterior route, which is the non-self-governing territory, which is an international route?
Hey, we're going to take a break right now. Remember, you can give us a call. Let's chat here. The number is 632-8255 or 632-TALK. A quick break, and then we'll get to your calls.